I have a strong feeling that at some point or another in each of our lives, we've experienced someone telling us one reason or another why we can't be creative, or why our ideas are silly, or something to the effect of your creative essence isn't what the world needs. And there's something to be said for choosing a path and focusing and being in a very specific like service, and that's where a lot of the good-hearted advice from adults comes from, when it lands differently perhaps when you're younger or at any age. And I've recognized this in a lot of people in my life, and certainly had the experience myself, and I feel like being able to understand that there's a purpose to being creative, and there's a purpose to being an individual, and that even say in America, in the United States, that's like kind of the forefront of the philosophy of this country is like the rugged individualism that this country was founded on has in some ways been perverted or taken to an extreme through like rampant like capitalism in the modern world. But the concept of individualism and being like a strong pillar is a really foundational idea for this country, and yet there's clearly no way that anyone can do it on their own. And this level of efficiency that we've created through collaboration, especially on like the material level in the United States, is, I mean, we're certainly not the only country. Just like, you know, I mean, China's probably better than the United States at this point, but we as a country value individualism, I would say, in many ways far more than China does, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different thing, and the concept of free thought, free speech, free thinking, all of that is very also central and important. So recognizing that there's, I guess, regardless of how you feel about one way or another about the country is, or whichever country you happen to live in, but being true to your place and being true to your ideals, even if you don't like them, stand up for the ones that you like, and if you absolutely really don't like them, you can leave your country. But for the most part, being happy with where you live and loving your community, loving your surroundings. I don't know if I'd say go far as to say loving your government, but at least understanding the purpose that it serves and your ability to play a role in that is you being a not just a citizen, but an individual human of Earth who has an independent will, and that no one can change that. No one can take that away from you. And there's infinite number of reasons why there is so much pull to be normal, to go follow this or that bandwagon, and at the same time there's positive bandwagons for sure too. And if there's the bandwagon that you don't see exists yet, you can make the bandwagon. Like, if there's a trend, if there's a change in the societal shift, like that's, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as be the change. It's just understanding that in this world there's so much to be said for social norms and trends that you can almost be the trend. and that being the trend in this day and age may in fact be something that is very helpful for changing the world. And this trend is towards being a real human being, being someone who isn't totally engrossed in their life on social media, and at the same time willing to participate in a way that is bringing value and enjoyment and to your own life, and ideally to the lives of others as well, because these are powerful tools that we have. And to recognize how powerful they really are is not something that we readily give our attention to. To understand, one, how technology affects us, how we affect technology, how at large, at scale, billions of people always doing all of this on the phones, on the screens, all the time now for the first time in history, is something radically different than the Earth has ever seen. And so, of course, like, human behavior is then going to change because we're experiencing an entirely new level of information being full throttle blasted at us, and our nervous systems are in a state of perhaps awakening, but also perhaps overload at the same time. So if you're in that space, then stepping back and finding silence, finding retreat just in your bedroom or in nature, wherever, where you can grow that spark, grow that creative essence, grow that connection to yourself, because that's where your power comes from. And when I say your power, it's like the thing that is yours and at the same time does not belong to you. And it like power or love or joy or peace, these are all things that we can cultivate, and yet they exist whether we want them to or not. So it's just about tapping into that field that exists and then being present to our ability to grow and nurture that field within ourselves. And that's, like, once again, the garden. So yeah, express yourself. If you gotta use words, use words. If you gotta use pictures, use pictures. If you gotta move, if you gotta play an instrument, whatever it is, just be yourself. That's creative. Make new things, think new thoughts, but not just for the purpose of thinking new thoughts. Novelty is not the end-all be-all of meaning. Being in tune with source, something like that. I have notes. Each one of us is made of stardust, and we're going back to stardust. Life is short. Be the star of your own life. Live your dream.